What's happening, old school scares? So I shot a video at Howl O Scream doing a comparison between Halloween Horror Nights and Howl O Scream, and it was terrible. You couldn't hear me. It was a little too dark, so I figured I'd come back to the hotel. We're heading back out tomorrow. I just got done with Howl O Scream. I did Halloween Horror Nights 2 nights ago. So we did like the third or fourth night of Halloween Horror Nights for 2022, and we did the first night of Howl O Scream for 2022 at SeaWorld Orlando. So I wanted to walk through and talk about the two different parks. I want to hit on 4 different subjects. So I did this video last year. It seemed like it was pretty helpful, and this is super early in the season. So if you're thinking about going to one of the two and you haven't decided, my first piece of advice is go to both if you can. They're both a ton of fun, but they're very different, and they have a different vibe and a different atmosphere. Like I did last year, I'm going to hit on 4 different subjects. So I'm going to hit on the haunted houses, so the mazes, the houses, the attractions. I'm going to hit on the scare zones. I'm going to hit on value, and I'm going to hit on fun factor. So it should come as no surprise when we talk about houses. Halloween Horror Nights by far has the best houses. Last year it was more of a toss-up. One of my favorite houses last year holistically was Beneath the Ice. They did another version of that this year. I actually didn't think it was as good as last year's version of Beneath the Ice. So I would tell you that my top 3 favorite houses were all easily Halloween Horror Night houses, and it was the Halloween house, which I gave a 10 to. It was that Beneath the Sea house at Halloween Horror Nights, which I gave like a 9.5, and that Bugs house, Eaten Alive, which I also gave a 9.5. The best house at Howl O Scream would have been that Bloodborne house. It was very good, but it was probably an 8 out of 10. So holistically, I would give the Halloween Horror Night houses probably a 7.5 or 8, and I'd give the Howl O Scream houses a 6. The biggest challenge with the Howl O Scream houses they're significantly smaller than the houses at Halloween Horror Nights, and they don't have the same budget to put that same input to it. They also don't own intellectual property to add in things like Bloomhouse or Halloween, so they're at a disadvantage there. But holistically, I thought they were still very good and very entertaining. They're just not to the level of Halloween Horror Nights. But the cool thing is at Howl O Scream, they'll let you record video of the houses, and take a look at my previous video. You'll see I have video all the way through of the houses, and it was great fun. When you get into the next one, we talk about scare zones. Hands down, the scare zones were way better at Howl O Scream this year. Just way more interactive. Everyone was having fun. The characters were great. If you were videotaping them, they would run right up and scare and jump into your face. I loved it. I thought they did an amazing job. Versus Halloween Horror Nights, which is more static. I actually almost bumped into one of the actors at Halloween Horror Nights trying to take a picture, and they kind of gave me a little bit of an attitude. Again, my fault. I almost bumped into him. I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to shoot a video or a picture. But that being said, still, there was just the vibe at Howl O Scream when it came to scare zones was way better. There's also significantly more scare zones, and they're spread out through the park, and they do a really nice job, especially with the fog effects. They're really good and really creepy. So I would give Howl O Scream for their scare zones, I'd give them a really solid 8 out of 10, where I would give Halloween Horror Nights a 7, only because of production quality, makeup effects, all that stuff is really good. It's just not as interactive. So let's hit on the next couple of subjects here. Next, we're going to talk about value. So value overall, it's very interesting. Halloween Horror Nights is more expensive by about $40 or $50 depending on when you go, and if you have the Fast Pass, it's another $20 more expensive. So it's anywhere between $60 and $80 more expensive holistically, depending on the night of the week that you go. This is a tough one. I'm probably going to give both of these attractions an 8 from a value standpoint. If you love horror like I do, it's great fun. Halloween Horror Nights has way more stuff to do. It's so much more immersive because of the size, scope, 31 years of doing it versus 2 years for Howl O Scream. So I would give them both an 8, and I would say that I think both do a really nice job. But I would say the overall, you get more attractions at Halloween Horror Nights. You get more bang for your buck, if you will, potentially at Howl O Scream because of the scare zones, and so it's like I said, it's really essentially a wash. Neither one of them are cheap. I would tell you that the only thing that could potentially be a game changer for you if you're thinking about it is I actually believe you could do Howl O Scream without the Fast Pass. We only saw one line. It was that Wicked Vines had a line. Everything else was actually relatively quick, and we could have skipped it, including like the roller coasters and stuff. My friend Ashley, who went with me, you've seen in the videos, she did all the roller coasters. Even without the Fast Pass, she would have been on right away. So I say you probably potentially from a value standpoint could save a little bit of money at Howl O Scream because it didn't look like you needed the fast pass. 100%. Here's the one thing I would tell you with Halloween Horror Nights: do not go without a fast pass. You will have a miserable time because you'll be standing in line for literally hours. Even with a fast pass, you're probably going to stand in line for 15 or 20 minutes, some of the longer, more popular houses, or as it gets later in the night. If you can get there right when they first open, obviously you're going to potentially save a little bit of time and be able to get through some of the houses quicker. But if not, you're gonna wait, even with the fast pass, 20-30 minutes at prime time when it gets to 10 o'clock at night. So that could be the one potential benefit of saving to going to Howl O Scream. The last thing we're talking about is fun factor. So again, for both of these attractions, I had an amazing time. I was talking to my friend Jeff, who saw in the video as well. What we talked about for us, I think, is it's Howl O Scream is so new. It's kind of an upstart. And they're so eager. Like, the folks are awesome. They'll let you shoot video in the houses. They're not giving you a hard time. The actors are great and want to interact with you. There's the ability to have a little more spacing in the houses. So, like, the fun piece of being, exposed to all the jump scares and seeing everything versus being in just a endless loop of people when you're in Halloween Horror Nights and just all the people in front of you. So, you don't see anything other than just what the people in front of you saw. So you kind of everything's spoiled all the time. But then when I look back at it, the fun of Halloween Horror Nights is just how great everything is. The houses are 4 or 5 times longer than the houses you have at Howl O Scream. For the most part, most of the houses I think are 5 minutes long, maybe 6 minutes long at Halloween Horror Nights, where most of the ones at Howl O Scream are about 2. So you're getting way more when you're going through there. Like I said, the licensed properties, like going through Bloom House and going through Halloween, were amazing. So the ability to see some of that stuff that you've always saw on the big screen transformed into an amazing haunted house is also just super cool. So I love all of that piece of Halloween Horror Nights. It's so polished. When you go to Howl O Scream, it's just a bunch of guys, it seems like, that are trying to put on a really great show and have a whole lot of fun doing it. And it really is like an 80s rock concert vibe. We were joking about it. It's kind of got a little bit of like an 80s Van Halen / Motley Crue music video vibe to it. You got a lot of scantily clad people on both sexes, men and women. There's tons of bars. It's really a party vibe. I can only think of it like the best way I think I can describe it would be like Mardi Gras for Halloween. Like, there's a ton of nonsense going on. People are just out having an amazing time. Nobody's taking it too seriously, but their people are super earnest and trying to make sure they're putting on a great product. So when I get to the end of the kind of the rating of the two attractions, and kind of a comparison between the two, I would tell you that I'm going to give them both a 7 out of 10. Both must-do Halloween attractions if you've never done one before. If you're coming down to the Orlando area, you got to hit either one. If I had to say you can only do one, you have one night, I would probably say Halloween Horror Nights by the slimmest of margins, because I think you're going to have a better overall experience because of the ability to see the polish, the 31 years of doing it versus 2 years, and the licensed properties and the depth of the houses. So by the slimmest of margins, I would go Halloween Horror Nights. But I will tell you, there was a much larger margin last year, and I firmly believe by the time we get to next year, I could easily see myself leaning the other way and saying, go check out Howl O Scream first. So I hope this is helpful for you. If you haven't done so far, please hit that like and subscribe button. And as always, stay scary.